Welcome to the Brew, Drink, Run podcast, brought to you by the only website that promotes brewing your own beer, consuming the best craft beers in the world, and then running off the calories. BrewDrinkRun.com.
It is episode 55 of the Brew, Drink, Run podcast. My name is Lee.
This is Keith.
I'm Raymond.
And this mini episode is the crossover themed show you've all been waiting for. Do I have to turn? I could just let this keep going. I don't have to.
Just let it go in the background for a while.
I don't
That's
have
fine.
to turn this down. I am so excited because today we are drinking Imperial Stout Trooper.
That's Stout Trooper, not Stormtrooper.
From New England Brewing Company. And we're talking Star Wars. If this is your first time listening to the show, this is a mini episode where we drink one beer and talk about a single subject. The previous episode and the next episode are full episodes where we also talk about homebrewing and running, in addition to reviewing a regular release and typically an amazing, usually rare beer. If you like this show, please rate us on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you grab your podcast and write a short review. Those ratings and reviews help more people to find the show. Or tell a friend. You can post about the show on Facebook or Twitter, and be sure to tag us at Brew, Drink, Run. 2015 is going to be a big year for Star Wars, with Episode 7 coming out in December. The Rebels TV show is on Disney XD, and there's a ton of new collectible product heading our way. But before we talk about all that, let's talk about this beer. Keith, what are we drinking?
We have Imperial Stout Trooper from New England Brewing Company. Is that right? New England Brewing? New England...
Brewing Company.
Brewing Company. Also, it could be brewery. I don't know. I didn't want to offend them by saying the wrong thing. This bottle appears to have been bottled in December of 2013, so this has got a little bit of age on it. 8.5% ABV. This is 9 fluid ounces, so one of those. 1 pint, 9 fluid ounces, and yeah, this is a beer I've been wanting to get a hold of. A lot of it because of the name. Although I am not the fanboy that either of these guys are. I'm a fan of Star Wars. Who doesn't want to drink this beer? You know, it's called Imperial Stout Trooper. Originally, it actually had a full-on, Stormtrooper on the label. And I don't know. This is one of those that I've been wanting to trade for a while, and I was never able to get it done. So big, huge thanks to Lee for getting a hold of one of these and then actually sharing it with me.
And it was kind of totally random. I was setting up a trade with my friend Brad up in Boston, and he was like, "Hey, I've got this," and I'm like, "Yeah, I want that," and that's how things went.
There you go. That's how it works.
Yeah. So sometimes it's easier than you ever thought, and I was super excited to try this, just being the Star Wars fanboy that I am. And when we're talking about this beer, we've got, I guess, there's the history of the beer and the reality of the beer and all these different things to talk about. So kids out there, whenever you make a beer that uses like a trademark, a copyrighted trademark in your beer name, and then you use the label art is the thing that your beer is named for, you probably need to lawyer up. And that's what happened with these guys. 2010, they had to change the label from being a Stormtrooper to a Stormtrooper with Groucho Marx glasses and eyebrows and nose. And for real Star Wars nerds, the problem here is not that it's wearing the Groucho glasses, but it's a Stormtrooper, not a Scout Trooper.
Yeah.
And I think we need to talk about that for a little bit, you guys,
all right,
before we talk about this beer at all.
I'm going to drink the beer while they talk.
We're not going to go into the differences between a Stormtrooper and a Scout Trooper.
Y'all go ahead. That's fine. I'll open another beer, drink that while you talk for an hour, and then we'll get back to this one.
So on the label itself, Raymond, is there anything that is fun and Star Warsy in the label text itself?
Oh, sure. So it says, brewed in a brewery not too far away and not too long ago. Imperial Stout Trooper is a full-bodied stout with a majestic blend of 7 different malts and Northern Brewer hops. So you got a little nod there.
Not bad. And how does it look, Raymond?
Oh, it's super dark. Not thin at all. Maybe just around the edges when you kind of tilt it in your glass. Very little lacing. Nice dark brown.
I'll tell you that I poured this a little bit earlier, and we got lots of photos with lots of stormtroopers next to it. And I tried to get a nice photo for their website to review. It did pour with a nice head. We've been playing around here for a little bit before we started recording, and it did pour with a nice looking head to it, and we can't really hold that against it. It has obviously diminished a good bit since that pouring, but it did have a nice bit of like a tan light brown head on there.
Okay, it's time to taste this beer.
Have we lawyered up?
Nobody listens to the show.
Yeah, I think we'll be all right. We'll just delete this from the archives if we ever become successful. All right, shall we start with aroma on this? Because I feel like it's a little lacking in the aroma.
I totally agree with that. Yep.
I mean, it's not bad, but I'm surprised a little bit as to how I don't know. What can something smell thin? I don't know. I mean, that's how it smells. It smells like it just doesn't have. Now, again, this is also a 2-year-old bottle, so this could be a different experience. I'm grateful to try any vintage of this, if you will, but I don't think this is necessarily designed to be cellared. But so this does have a little bit of age on it.
Yes.
It doesn't smell terrible, but it's not as big as you'd expect for something called Imperial anything.
Right.
The Emperor does not share your optimistic appraisal of the situation.
Wasn't that optimistic, Darth? Jeez.
That's not a good sign, you guys. The aroma isn't as much as I was hoping for on this. It's thin. It smells thin. That's a weird thing to say.
It is. That's the first thing I thought when I smelled it. I'm like, it smells thin. No, things don't smell thin, but that's the first thing I thought. I think Stop interrupting me. It's very rude. Anyways,
how he breathes. Dude.
I think
him taking in. Yeah,
he's taking in the aroma.
Yeah.
Not impressive.
No.
But I think the taste is better than the aroma, though. I'm gonna give it
correct.
That. Yes, good.
Good.
Yeah. It tastes better than it smells. Yeah. There's more going on here than at first scent would have led you to believe. I think that we're a little disadvantage here because we've had a few beers before this one, so our palates are not super fresh.
I think it's got a nice got a nice flavor, got a nice roasty flavor. There's a little bit of coffee in there, which I think might have been a good bit stronger, probably originally when this came out like super fresh 2 years ago. I think that note would have been a little bit more intense, which I would have liked.
That's it.
Yes, but I like it. I think this is a solid stout. I just don't. I think people are buying it because of the name and the label.
Oh, sure.
More than the beer, but I think what's in the bottle is actually pretty good. So,
apology accepted.
He's having so much fun.
You guys, I finally prepared for a show.
You've had these clips for years. You didn't just get these. They've been sitting.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
This and Grover.
Look, I'm finally hitting my stride, you guys. I gotta say, I'm getting a lot of the roastiness to this. I think for me, the biggest note in this is that it's not a char, it's not a burn, but it's definitely a roastiness to the malts.
It's a very deep char. I mean roast. I mean almost char. When you said that, I was like, yes, it's almost like a charred, but it's not quite.
and it's verging on that kind of coffee-ish, note to it as well. I was a little worried with the age on it because at 8.5%, it's not one of the bigger, boozier, crazier things.
Yeah, but we had that Event Horizon, although it was a bourbon barrel-aged stout, but we had that Event Horizon that was, I think, also like 8.5% recently on a podcast, and it held up really well, too, at 8.5%. So I think that 8% barrier is about where you want to go, unless you're talking about sours or those kinds of Belgian-style ales. But I think it's held up really well. I just think that in my mind, it's like I want a fresh bottle to see if this is something special. Because this is a solid stout.
Don't underestimate the force.
Well, I'm not going to... Scott, just give me a break, Darth. I'm trying here. No, it's I think like this is a great beer to pick up on an everyday basis if it's in your market. Maybe not necessarily something that you pick up to put in the cellar, age, to freak out about. Now, I'm really excited to finally be able to try it. I've been waiting to try this for a long time. And from what I'm tasting, I'm even more dumbfounded that I haven't been able to get trades done on it. But, I mean, every single one I ever tried fell through for some reason. Oh, well done.
Thank you. Yeah, this is good, and I'm glad to have it. I'm super glad to tick it. I'm super glad to take all the photos with the stormtroopers and the bottles.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
And as a pretty much a lifetime Star Wars fan, when you were born in '76 and that movie came out in '77, there's no other way to go about it. That movie's been around about as long as I have. It's cool to see breweries, and I like to think that when they were brewing this beer, it was more than just like, hey, let's pick a name and twist it. They had to be fans in the first place not everybody knows stormtroopers, not everybody knows scout troopers. It's kind of not that they put the right helmet on the label. Anyway, I can keep talking about that a little bit longer. But it's nice. It's nice to have this sort of thing and to have, in ways, another collectible. I don't know if I'm getting rid of this bottle.
Are you going to put the bottle on the shelf?
I don't know.
I've kept one bottle, and that's that bottle of Westie that I had, and I was able to kind of get the cap off without bending it too much. I just popped it right back on. It's sitting on a bookshelf, but otherwise, I'm not keeping bottles of beer. But this is one I think if you are super into Star Wars, you're going to keep, and I think if you're really super into Star Wars, you're going to look for a 2010 or earlier bottle of this before they had to change it, so you can have
just not even drink it, just keep it.
Yeah, exactly.
Unopened.
So, which is
mint unpunched hard.
Yeah, and that is like marketing genius from these guys. I mean, they came up with a great name, they came up with a solid beer to go with that name, and now it sort of has a life of its own.
We're going back in time. Keith's spreadsheet. Let's do this!
Because nothing is more hardcore than a spreadsheet.
Oh.
Because that is really...
I have the hardest spreadsheet in town, trust me.
It's laying it all in the line with the spreadsheet, for sure. Okay, this is the part of the show where we look back in time to the massive spreadsheet of beers that have been tried at some point or another by Keith. And it's also the point in the show where we test Raymond's ability to guess which beer we're talking about by reading a beer description from the spreadsheet. Raymond, you are 0-2. Are you ready?
No.
Okay. I'm going to be skipping selected parts of the review that would be dead giveaways.
Okay.
Same as last week. If it's something that names the brewery or something specific about the style, I'm leaving it out. Okay. Are you? All right, here we go. This is the review. Let's get this out of the way. This is some of the most clever label art name concept beers I've seen in a while. It poured with some overactive carbonation, but when it settled down, this was a very flavorful. I'm going to skip the type of beer for right now. Lots of big roastiness, along with a nice showing from rye. Dry and spicy on the finish. After it warms a bit, a delicious chocolate note appears. In fact, I was thinking B+ from the start, but that chocolate is now pushing this to more of an A-. there is so much to like about this beer. 4 out of 5, A- from Keith. What is the beer, Raymond?
I'm going with Westbrook Dark Helmet.
The boy got a beer right. I don't have a sound effect for you getting one right. I literally did not plan for this contingency.
Yeah. I kind of knew it right away, and I was like, "Oh, this fits in so nicely."
Yeah,
in
it does.
In a mockumentary kind of way.
So the parts I left out were Schwartz beer,
Yep.
the first word in it,
Yep.
because
Yeah,
how many
sure.
Schwartz beers are we going to be super familiar with? And the second sentence, I'm not even that big of a Spaceballs fan, but this is brilliant. Quote, "May the Schwartz beer be with you." Anyway, and the other bit, I think it's a black lager, so I skipped the black lager part as well, just because trying to make it difficult for you, but obviously I did not do that. So yeah, Westbrook, right down the road in Mount Pleasant. You know, this is great that we have a Star Wars beer, but they made a Spaceballs beer, so I'm
Yeah,
not
they
sure
did.
which one's cooler.
And one that I haven't had and is on my list.
You haven't had Dark
That
Helmet?
I haven't.
Really?
What?
I think at the store.
the South Side.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah, they're
Tomorrow.
those,
Tis the season for picking up Dark
those are some of the Westbrook beers that show up. We get that in the Oktoberfest. So yeah, you should
Just
just
never
those,
picked
for
it up.
whatever reason that
for
is.
whatever reason. Yeah, they must either they make a lot of them or they like someone thinks we really like them in Savannah. So.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
Wait,
Yeah,
did
we
I
should
win
be
anything?
happy
Yes,
for the
I'm,
beer that we get. Thank you, Westbrook. Thank you for
point.
sending the beer that we get. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to insult you at all. So I mentioned that 2015 going to be a big year for Star Wars. Keith has watched and liked the movies.
I enjoy them all.
Did you see the prequels too, or just the?
Yeah, no, I've seen. No,
seen all of them?
I'm a fan. I'm actually a fan. I waited in line for the first prequel, like everyone else, and saw it at midnight. Yeah, I mean, but I don't know every line, and I don't know every character, and I didn't buy every toy.
Have you watched the teaser trailer yet?
No. See, that's where I'm like, I want to go see the movie. I want to enjoy it, but I'm not gonna. I don't freak out about it.
So, you have accepted the truth.
Yes, I have.
Well, the movie coming out this year, I'm super excited. J.J. Abrams is directing it, who has done... I'm not a Star Trek fan per se, but I've seen his Star Trek movies, and I like them as movies. And obviously, his pedigree is pretty well established before that. So I'm excited to see what somebody else is going to do creatively with the series. And looking forward to seeing what happens this year. And I'm enjoying watching Rebels, the new cartoon on Disney XD with my 8-year-old. Have you watched any of those, Raymond?
I watched the first episode and not since then.
Is there a reason for that? Just
I was bootlegging cable and it went away.
Impressive. Most impressive.
So tell me more about this cable bootlegging business you've got going on.
I canceled my cable a couple of years ago, and it kept showing up, and so I was watching it, and then they finally caught up with me.
Apology accepted.
Yeah, not bad.
It's about the only thing I wanted to watch right now. So
That's it.
That's it. That's all you wanted to watch.
okay.
As you wish.
So a lot going on Star Wars wise. Definitely take a look at our Instagram for lots of pictures of stormtroopers with the bottle of this. There is a lot to look forward to this year. I don't know how geeky down the rabbit hole we want to go with all this. So I'm just going to, if you want to know more about Star Wars, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/BrewDrinkRun or on Twitter at BrewDrinkRun. I think either one of those would be great.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed.
I could seriously finish these all day long, but I'm not going to do that. For more about us and Brew Drink Run, go to brewdrinkrun.com. Follow us on Twitter at BrewDrinkRun or on Facebook at facebook.com/BrewDrinkRun. Plus, our writers are also on Untapped. If you want to be a part of the show, you can email us at team@brewdrinkrun.com to let us know about your homebrew, your running training, or let us know about your favorite place to grab a beer. Better than that, send us an email or some audio. I already talked about email. Let's talk about audio. That's when you can call us at 781-76-DRINK, 781-763-7465. We've got t-shirts and running shirts on our site. Click on the store link. Our theme music is provided by Morning Lights and apparently John Williams. Thanks for joining us. We will see you at the bar. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Cheers. Hard to get a word in edgewise with like Darth Vader constantly interrupting.
No Yoda.
What? He's all yours, bounty hunter. Perhaps you think you're being treated unfairly? Don't make me destroy you.